Welcome to the Thunder and Lightning Show. I was talking to Ryan, the Retrograde, and we were talking about rules for retrogrades. We actually did a book review of that, the first 10 rules, and he has a good example of rule number 1. Is it rule number 1? Always be on offense.
Yeah.
So let's hear your example.
Yeah, and as I talked about that when we did the review, I said, this is true, we need to put this into action, there's so much you can do about this. So I was reading some threads, comments about the cancellation. So there's the cancellation because of the virus. Hushed, we must speak in hushed terms when we talk about the virus. So anyway, everything's canceled because of the virus. And I was just making fun of the fact that, okay, so I can go to Walmart, I can go to the grocery store, touch all this stuff, pick up boxes of crackers and cereal and get hummus and fruits and vegetables or whatnot. I can go pick up beer, cigarettes, but I can't go to Mass. And in some places I can't even go to confession. And in some places I can't even pick up a blessed palm. I mean, it's Palm Sunday. The palm is dangerous now. I could get the virus from this palm, okay? But I won't get the virus from a box of crackers. That won't give me the virus. But if I step into the church, if I approach and touch, pick up a blessed palm, the virus! I've got it.
If you even step into the church,
you'll get the virus.
Some churches are locked.
Yeah, so this is what I was like, man, I need to switch religions or something, because our God is so weak. Like, we're cursed or something. Because the virus is in all of our churches. It's on our blessed palms. It's on the Eucharist. If you do a baptism, you'll get the virus. If you get married, you get the virus. A priest even steps out of the house. Somebody prays a rosary on church grounds. The virus, it's there. So, maybe I should switch religions. I will worship the god Wall.
Or Pachamama.
Pachamama. But the god Wall in his great temple, Walmart, with the big blue sign, where there is no virus. It's safe to go in as long as you maintain the social distancing of 6 feet. So it's safe there, and when you pick up your holy beer, when you pick up your 6-pack of beer on which no virus can live, then that is your sacramental in the New World Order, is your beer and your cigarettes and your box of crackers, and you can sit down and watch your Netflix. You can sit there and watch Tiger King or whatever the new show is on Netflix and eat, touch your sacramentals. But you can't go to Mass, you can't step into the church or touch a blessed palm because they have the virus. So anyway, I was pointing this out to people, and then, of course, there were people, I don't know if they're Satanists, I don't know if they're people who were deceived by erroneous opinions, if they're scared of I don't know what their position is, but the point being is that so I used the rules for retrograde, offense and attack. So here's what I did. I presented that argument to them. Like, if this virus is so bad, then why am I still allowed to go to Walmart, the grocery store, work? Like most businesses, even in like states that are shut down, like New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Maryland, whatever, businesses that are essential, people that make stuff that's important, still go to work. And it's more or less business as usual. I mean, things are cut down in certain places, like, you have to stay this far apart, or don't eat food here, or go out, all this stuff, okay? Don't congregate with 10 or more people. So all these places are still open, and I asked these questions. I said, like, if this virus was really that bad, wouldn't Walmart totally be locked? And everybody in there who works at the Walmart would be wearing some, suit, like a space suit, and wouldn't you just be have to be in the house, and never leave, and the National Guard would be delivering all this stuff? I mean, really, it's pretty much business as usual out there. So, of course, these people are like, you're going to give the virus to everybody. Why do you hate life? You're not pro-life because you want to go to Mass. And if you go in there, everybody's going to get the virus. And I was like, no, I just went on offense. So I saw somebody who was they said they were an atheist or they were something, and they were like, well, all you religious people, you're just like fanatics and you want to worship God and you don't realize that this virus is going to like kill us all. And I was like, hold on, dude. Okay, let's, for a minute here, oh, Mr. Atheist, let's look at the actual scientific data and not get all into superstition and feelings here. And let's look at the data, the seriousness of this virus. So I examined the statistics for the state of Pennsylvania, where we live. And, okay, if you're less than 65 years old, or let's say less than 60, and you get the virus, you have a 5% chance, or maybe it's 8, of actually ending up in the hospital. So that's a confirmed case of the virus. If you're less than 40, you've got like a 1% chance of ending up in the hospital.
That's not even dying.
That's not dying. That's just going to the hospital. Okay, so you've got like a slim chance of ending up in the hospital, and that's not even dying. So the people we're talking about who are dying are all people who are in pretty bad shape already. So that being said, that's the science. So if you want to talk about the facts, we'll talk about this. Now, here you go on offense, and you say, okay, Mr. Atheist, who gave you and your unscientific opinions, who gave you the right to be preachy to me and to force your philosophy and your religion on me? I didn't give you that authority. You're up here all high and mighty and trying to teach me what to do. You have this era of superiority. And this is why, I was thinking about becoming an atheist. I was thinking about becoming an agnostic. And actually, before I was baptized, I was a pagan. I only had natural religion before I was baptized. And you have really turned me off to the atheist, so-called scientific way of thought and life. And my opinion of atheists and agnostics and scientific people has just gone way down here because of your self-righteous preachiness, and you're trying to tell me how to live my life. Like, I've examined this stuff scientifically, and I understand the risks, okay? But apparently now it's not my body, my choice. It's you do what I say, you troll. You listen to what I say because I'm in charge, and it's not your body, your choice. You do what you say. Okay, so maybe after this whole thing is over, we'll be able to ban abortion because my body, my choice has been proven wrong by the virus people. Anyway, that being said, so I told these atheist agnostics, you're not scientific, and don't be so preachy with me. And so essentially I went on the offense and I changed the narrative, and I put these people in their place. And so what happens is, then they change their tune. Some people, I think they're lying or whatever, and so they'll just tell another lie. And so then eventually what happens is the conversation ends, or they just like flip out at you and swear or whatever. But you've won. I mean, you've gone on the offense. You've changed the language. You've changed the narrative, and people read this stuff and they begin to question. They begin to question some of these draconian measures, and of course question, who are you to try to be like preachy to me and tell me how to live my life? Especially when, is there any science behind what you're trying to say as far as the data on who's getting sick and who's getting the virus and all this stuff? And then it's like, well, you might not get sick, but the old person, think about them. Well, they're out going to Walmart. The old person is out at Walmart. They're at the grocery store. They're going to doctor's appointments if they're actually sick or whatever. And believe me, the virus is there. It's everywhere. So unless you're going to tell people you shall not leave the house, and if you do, put on a spacesuit, then you don't care about the virus. I mean, seriously, all the preachy people who were telling me about the virus, you don't believe in what you're saying. You are a hypocrite. And we all know that Americans hate hypocrites. If you really believed in the virus, when you stepped outside the house, you would have on your spacesuit. So obviously you don't care about people, because though you might feel good, you could very well have the virus and you're going to Walmart. And I don't care how many gloves and masks you wear, the virus is going to get out. So you just need to stay home. And actually don't even get on the internet, because you could have the virus and it's affecting your head and your opinions could infect other people. So you people who are devout into this virus cult, just don't even go onto the internet. Stay off of it, because your brain is affected. And so that's the bottom line. You can see how to put into effect one or two of these rules for retrogrades here.
Well, isn't it interesting that I've seen pictures, like people have posted pictures online. They say, "Look at all these jerks in the park enjoying the nice day."
Yeah.
And people ask them, "Wait, where were you at when you took that picture?"
Yeah.
So you see this hypocrisy. And another thing I wanted to mention: have you ever? I've seen this so much in the past several weeks. Is that people refer to the common good, even Catholics, and I'm like, isn't that a communist term? Like it makes me think. All these people, they're like, do this for the common good. You need to self-isolate, self-quarantine. You need to seclude yourself from everywhere just for the
common
good. And it's like, well, what is the common good, and how does religion play into it?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what's the common good? Is it everyone losing their jobs?
And
is it closing all the churches?
Yeah, who decides what this common good is? Because, I mean, I never took a vote on this. And if it did come from Almighty God, which we know the church kind of teaches guidelines about what this common good is, it's like, how did these people who are on Facebook or Twitter, how'd they learn about all this common good stuff, and what makes their opinion right? And who gave these governments, how do they know about what this common good is? Because aren't they preaching their religion and their philosophy on me? And what gives them the right to preach their religion about the common good to me?
Well, everyone has their own variation of the common good. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, that's also control of language. It refers to another role in the rules for retrogrades.
Yeah.
So it's just be aware of that stuff.
Well, we see when you get down to the brass tacks that the so-called liberal is actually they're interested in control. In this sense, everybody's kind of running towards the idea that there is an order to the universe, and the liberals, the bad guys, just disagree on how the world should be ordered. So they're willing to command you to inhibit your freedoms for the sake of this greater good. Whether that greater good is the environment, whether that greater good is choice or gay marriage or whatever, they're like, you must bake a cake that says, "Happy wedding, Steve and Joe. You must bake this cake." So in a similar way, we need to realize that we should ban all abortions, and all false religions need to be pushed underground, and they're not allowed to have public worship of these false religions. So, like Protestant sects, sorry, you can't build a church, and we're not going to talk about Protestant sects officially in a public organization. We learned that because now we realize that the bad guys, the lefties, the virus people who are in charge understand that sometimes so-called rights have to be violated for the sake of the common good. And believe me, okay, if you think the virus is bad, the virus which kills the body, what about the virus that kills the soul, which is heresy and false worship, false religion, and false opinions when it comes to politics and philosophy? We should suppress those things as well if we're going to be consistent. So we're back to the point where the church has the authority to advise the government on the proper way to handle its relationship with religion, with philosophy, and with false religions as well.
All right, well, thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you, John.
And everyone have a great day.